Welcome to W&L Sports Weekly. I'm Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with women's cross-country coach Mike Dager, field hockey captain Maggie Sands, and football senior Mitch Lowery. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington under the Athletics. Field hockey clinched the #1 seed in the upcoming ODAC tournament with a 3-0 home victory over Bridgewater. Football improved to 2-1 in the conference with a 36-6 road win over Hampton-Sydney. Volleyball swept a trio of home matches, downing ODAC foes Roanoke and Hollins and also defeating John Wesley. Men's soccer delivered an 8-0 senior day win over Guilford, while women's soccer fell 3-2 at Bridgewater. And men's and women's swimming both picked up away victories against Randolph-Macon. Joining me now in the studio is women's cross-country coach Mike Dager. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Both the ODAC Championship and the South-Southeast Regional will take place in Hampton Roads this year. What's the scouting report on those two courses?
Well, the ODAC Championship course is incredibly flat. The campus is at 7 feet above sea level. There is 0 elevation change, so we expect the times to be really fast. The Regional Championship course, slightly more challenging, but still pretty quick. They hosted regionals at Christopher Newport in 2013, I believe, and the times there were really fast. So we expect 2 fast races at the end of the season.
There are 22 athletes on the W&L roster in 2017. How have you been able to manage such a big squad?
It's actually been pretty easy. As coaches, we have the opportunity to work with, what's a very different team every year. I've had the fortune of working with 33 different teams over the past 19 seasons, and this team is just different. It's the best team I've ever worked with. It's just from top to bottom on the roster, from Arnold to Yates, every single person is dedicated to the team and what we're attempting to accomplish, and incredibly supportive of one another. It's the best team I've ever coached, and it's been incredibly easy to work with a slightly larger roster this year.
The Generals have narrowly missed out on a team bid to the NCAA championship each of the past 2 seasons. We've spoken with some of the upperclassmen about how that's a motivating factor. What have you learned as a coach that can help as you prepare for the Generals for the postseason this year?
I think it's important for us to keep doing what we're doing. We really focus on the last 2 meets of the season. We haven't really raced everyone at the same time or really attempted to race fast on many occasions. We had a really solid performance at Dickinson, and that was the time of the season when our training allowed for us to run fast. But we really focused on training and really preparing for 2 meets, the ODAC Championship and the Regional Championship, because in the end they're the only 2 meets that really matter. We keep working to try and improve our standing in the region every year.
We're now 3 days out from the ODAC Championship. What's the prognosis on the Generals as you get set for the conference meet?
It's going to be a really competitive meet. Between, it appears, us and Lynchburg, the meet should be pretty close. We did face off against them once this year at Virginia Tech early in the season, and they did beat us by a point. So we're looking forward to a really competitive and exciting meet this weekend at Virginia Wesleyan.
Mike, thanks for joining us. Best of luck in the postseason.
Thanks, Jeremy.
With me now is Maggie Sands, senior field hockey captain from Glennar, Maryland. Maggie, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
The Generals clinched the #1 seed in the ODAC tournament with a 3-0 win over Bridgewater on your senior day this past weekend. What does home field advantage mean to the team?
We're really excited about having the home field advantage this year. We do really well when we play at home. This year we've only had 1 loss at home, and it was our first game that went into a shootout after 2 overtimes. So we're pretty confident when we play on our field, and we play pretty consistently. So it's nice to be able to play where we practice every day. Plus we don't have to travel, and we've had a really nice fan base this year and a lot of support. So the combination of all those things, it'll be really good to be able to be at home for the tournament.
W&L heads to Virginia Wesleyan for the regular season finale on Saturday. You entered that game on a 7-match winning streak. What's been clicking for the team?
Yeah, I think you're right to say that something has been clicking for us. And I think the biggest thing is our team play has really increased as the season has gone on. Doing the work off the ball allows us to work together to get the ball up the field. Passing is a lot easier than one person trying to take it. And at the same time, it allows us to keep the ball on our side of the field. When we redefend early and work together to keep it there, it makes us a lot more successful in the game, in the midfield. I'd also say that at practice, we're working on the little things, we're focusing on small pieces, and we're really implementing it in the games. So when everyone has their individual role and then you see all those kind of puzzle pieces fit together and see the outcome that we can have, we've been really successful when everyone does their small part, and then it leads to a lot bigger success.
You were recently selected as an alternate for the Division III senior game. What does that recognition mean to you?
It means a lot. I'm really honored to have been selected, and it's really exciting, especially because the seniors on our team in the past who have been selected are people who I've really looked up to as a player. And I guess especially as a senior, knowing that at the end of this season it's also the end of my field hockey career, it makes me happy to know that all the hard work I've put in over the past 4 years has really paid off.
The Generals have come up just short in the ODAC championship game each of the past 2 seasons. What needs to happen differently this year for Washington and Lee to claim the title?
I'd say we're a really different team this year than we've been in the past 2 years, and I think the biggest thing is our ability to adapt within the game and kind of respond to adversity as it comes. In the past, we've seen some breakdowns in our play when things have gotten tough or things haven't gone our way, but in the games this season, we've really been able to overcome that adversity, been able to adapt to how teams are playing, and really come out with the win. So I think that will be important going into the ODAC tournament. It's definitely not going to be easy. We clinched the #1 seed, but that doesn't mean that we're miles ahead of everyone else. It's definitely going to be tough, but I think that we have the ability to come back and make it happen. And I have a lot of confidence in our team that we will be successful.
Maggie, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Here with me in the studio is Mitch Lowery, senior football player from Charlotte. Mitch, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Washington and Lee rolled by Hampton-Sydney 36-6 on the road this past weekend. What led to such a convincing performance for the team?
I think last game we really came together as a team. As an offense, I know we really harp on working together, being able to communicate with each other, and really working as a team. And I thought that we really brought all that together last game against Sydney. Defensively, having a performance like we did is just really good. Makes it easier on us as an offense when your defense outscores Sydney 8-6. So it's really, really exciting stuff, and looking forward to playing Macon next weekend.
The W&L offense is battling through several injuries, but you've still been able to put up some great numbers in recent games. How has the team been able to produce, even with key players on the sideline?
Yeah, so I know all season we've had the next man up mentality. We've had guys go down in various different positions, and there's always that next guy that's just ready to step up. And it's almost like there's not even a guy missing, because these guys are just ready to go. They're prepared. They're paying attention during practice and meetings and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So just having that next man up mentality and having guys that are just really willing to step in and play their part is really important for us.
You're the starting tight end for the Generals. Describe the role of your position in Washington and Lee's option offense.
So being a tight end in a triple option offense is a pretty atypical role as a tight end. You're not going out for passes 20, 30 times a game. You're blocking a lot. But I've been doing that my whole career, and as long as we keep winning as a team, I'm happy to keep doing it. No problem with that.
Last week's win, along with some other results around the conference, put the Generals back in control of their own destiny. What are the keys for Washington and Lee as you pursue an ODAC title? Yeah,
so we've been talking about an ODAC title since the end of last season. We had a bit of a letdown. We had a shot at the end of the season last year to really solidify a spot, but just couldn't pull through. We've been harping on that since last season, and I think some of the keys for us is just kind of taking things one game at a time. We try to focus on what opponent we have that week, and this week it just happens to be Macon. And I think that if we go out and focus on our game plan and execute, then we should have a great matchup against them. And again, just focus on one game at a time. Next week after Macon, we've got Bridgewater and then Shenandoah after that. So just taking things one game at a time.
Mitch, thanks for joining us. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks so much.
Here's a look at the upcoming weekend. Volleyball wraps up the regular season at the Emory National Invitational in Atlanta. On Friday, the Generals will take on Birmingham Southern and the host Eagles, followed by Saturday matches against Webster and Barry. The ODAC Cross Country Championships will take place at Virginia Wesleyan on Saturday. The women's race starts at 11 and the men's meet will begin at noon. Men's soccer opens up the ODAC tournament with a quarterfinal matchup against Bridgewater at Watt Field. Also Saturday, riding competes at the Bridgewater JMU Invitational, while football travels to Randolph-Macon. and both field hockey and women's soccer will finish out the regular season at Virginia Wesleyan. For W&L Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.